إن الحمد لله نحمده حمدا كثيرا طيبا كما يستحق كل محامد. هو الذي أرسل رسوله بالهدى ودين الحق وبلغ رسالة وأدى الأمانة ونصح الأمة وجاهد في الله حق جهاده وترك الأمة على البيضاء ليلها كنهارها ولا يزيغ عنها إلا هالك. صلى الله نبينا وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد. طيب يا إخوة, let's start. طيب, one of the doubt the Shaykhul-Islam brings here, the doubt they bring, they say that you can't declare us kuffar, you can't fight against us because we say La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, we believe in Islam and everything, because Prophet ﷺ, he made inkar, he reprimanded Usama bin Zayd when he killed that person in the battle. So we say La ilaha illallah. So they, and also in another hadith that Prophet said that I've been ordered to fight them until they say La ilaha illallah. So they use the hadith like this to say that, establish their proof that he can't declare us, fight against us, he can't declare us kuffar. So what's the answer for this? The hadith Usama bin Zayd. Go on, تفضل.
Hadith, some of the Quraysh, they still believe in Allah, but they still do shirk. So
okay.
a person, it's not enough for a person to say, I believe in Allah.
It's not enough. So Prophet fooled them. Okay, what else? Husab, do you have any? How would you explain to them if they came with this argument?
So he killed a person, but the person, you got the Prophet reprimanded him saying that you can't, you don't know what's in his heart,
yeah,
etc. Like in as what the Prophet mentioned, the Quraysh, they believe in Allah, but they used to be intermediaries beside Allah, and the Prophet called them also the one of the battles after that. I think
okay, so we can use all this argument. Ali killed, burnt a group of companions. I mean, they were with Ali, they learned with Ali, and they raised Ali. They made some kufr statement. He burned them. Also, we have Bani Qaddah. You know, the people like that. They prayed Jama'ah and everything, but they did some kufr. And the ulama said they're not Muslim. So we can use this evidence to say, even if you say all this, because of your shirk, you're not a Muslim. And so same thing goes for those people who at the time of Wahhab and they believed La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, but they did other kufr. And this hadith is not evidence. Because why is the evidence? I don't know, because Prophet ﷺ reprimanded Usama bin Zayd for something else. Not because if someone says La ilaha illallah, takuffa an, you withhold yourself, you don't fight. That's why Prophet ﷺ reprimanded him, because he did not withhold himself killing the person. So Prophet said, I have been sent to check people's heart and things like that. You have to accept he's Muslim and that's it. So that's the argument of this. It's not hujjah for them. It's not hujjah for these people. This hadith teaches that when people say La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, they're Muslims, we accept them as their Islam, and then we take them as Muslim brothers, sisters, and we treat them as Muslims. Okay, that's what it means. Withhold yourself when someone says La ilaha illallah. طيب. The next hadith, we covered that. Okay, the next Shubuhaat was when the people came to Shaykhul-Islam and says that the Muslims, Yawm al-Qiyamah, will go to Adam, Nuh, okay, Ibrahim, Musa, Isa, then go to Prophet ﷺ. So, because the Yawm al-Qiyamah is going to be a scary time, very severe time, and they will make istighatha bil anbiya. So they say, see, you can do istighatha other than Allah. So they did it. So what's the answer for that? He's smiling, so he knows.
No, because
that's the evidence.
I mean, in Yawm al-Qiyamah, they want to be present, and
they're going to be present?
They're not present here, so we can't ask them, so they can't hear us. Yawm al-Qiyamah they can hear us, they're going to be present, and they won't be, the Prophet ﷺ is going to be able, because he says it's going to be the shafa'a, and we ask that after the adhan in the dua.
So yeah, so the answer is that is the answer, that this is evidence for people who make istighatha bil ahya, those who make istighatha with who's alive, front of you, able to help you. It's okay, but so that's evidence. It's against them, not for them. Okay, it doesn't mean you can go to the amwat, the dead, righteous dead, and call them. No, you can't. This is only alive, and that's okay. So this is a hujjah against them, not for them. But they try to use the evidence for them, but it's not. What is istighatha? Istighatha, akhi. Ma ma'ana istighatha?
Istighatha is specific, isn't it? It's not like.
Yes, you got that right. Next, more inshallah. Read surah. Istighatha is specifically for what?
Isti'ana is asking for assistance. Istighatha.
So is isti'adha as well. They all they're all asking for aid. Go on,
طلب الغوث you're saying. طلب الغوث, like in asking for help in the severe desperate need.
The time of need, yeah.
Time of need. What example can you give me?
Like the drowning or something.
Yeah. So what example can you give me for istighatha from the hadith? Naam. So what was the ayah was revealed?
استستغيثوا ربكم
استستغيثوا ربكم فاستجاب لكم. So the ayah was revealed to respond to dua of Prophet ﷺ, that he's going to respond to his dua. So Allah responded it by sending the malaika. So these are the shubuhat they came with. Okay, let's continue inshallah. Nabda. طيب, today is going to be the last lesson in Kashf Shubuhaat. So it was a long one. It's a small risala, but alhamdulillah, hope you benefited. طيب, ولهم شبهة أخرى وهي قصة إبراهيم عليه السلام لما ألقى في النار اعترض له جبريل في الهواء فقال له ألك حاجة فقال إبراهيم أما إليك فلا فقالوا فلو كانت الاستغاثة بجبريل شركا لم يعرضها على إبراهيم. So here the next shubha they bring is that the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam, when he was thrown into the fire, Jibril appeared, okay, in front of Ibrahim alayhi salam, and he said, do you need any help, Ibrahim? He's in the fire. Do you need any help? He said, as for you, no. I have Allah is enough for me. So they say now, here Jibril came asking Ibrahim alayhi salam, does he need, this is istighatha, isn't it? Even in the fire. If you were shirk, then Jibril will not request Ibrahim alayhi salam for istighatha. Okay, we'll answer this. First of all, Ibrahim alayhi salam, one of the Khalil of Allah Azza wa Jal, one of the father of the Anbiya, and Ibrahim alayhi salam, he's the father. Why is the father of the Anbiya? If you look at the story of Ibrahim alayhi salam, and then the tree of Ibrahim alayhi salam, he had two sons, Ismail and Ishaq. So Ismail alayhi salam, his descendant are the Arab, and under his descendant is Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then you have Ishaq, under him is the descendant of Bani Israel, right? Musa, Isa, they all under Ishaq. Ishaq, the father of Yaqub. Yaqub is father of Isa alayhi salam, chain Anbiya. So he is the father of all the prophet. And the evidence is when Prophet went to Israr and he met Ibrahim alayhi salam, and he was introduced as he's your father Ibrahim, give him salam. So Ibrahim alayhi salam, and that's when Ibrahim alayhi salam said to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, give me salam to your ummah, and Jannah is good and it's flat, it's beautiful, and the Jannah, the plantation is to make dua. Subhanallah, walhamdulillah, wa la ilaha illallah, Allahu Akbar. These are the azkar if you make, you are planting your garden in Jannah. But anyway, so Ibrahim alayhi salam is mentioned in the Quran as the Imam of the Hunafa, Imam of the Immatul Rasul, Imam of the messengers. And Ibrahim alayhi salam, he had 3 brothers. The historian says, they say one of his brothers' name is Nahur, then Ibrahim, then Haran. Nahur and Haran, they weren't Muslim. Haran, his son is Lut alayhi salam. So Lut is the nephew of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Now, when Ibrahim alayhi salam, in his time, they weren't Muslims, except Ibrahim, Lut, his 2 wives. They were the Muslims. And where he lived in Palestine and the area, Sham, were full of shirk. And they used to worship stars a lot. Either they will worship directly stars, or they will make idols shape of stars, and they will worship that. Now, Ibrahim salam was sent to them to guide them to La ilaha illallah. Obviously, there's the first person he asked went to his father, Ibrahim alayhi salam. And Ibrahim alayhi salam will reprimand his father from doing such thing. And he will say, oh Ibrahim, are you turning away from my command, what I'm commanding you to worship idols? I will crucify, things like that. He will threaten him for his da'wah. So this is the story of all the prophets. Now, the first enemy was his father. And one of the things we learn, look at the mercy of Allah Azza wa Jal, that Allah taught Ibrahim, even though his father wasn't a Muslim, he's kafir, Allah taught him to address him best way, Ya Abati. You know the difference between Ya Abi and Ya Abati? Ya Abi, my father. Ya Abati, more respect, my father. Allah saying to Ibrahim alayhi salam, your dad mushrik, but say Ya Abati, oh my father. As a da'wah purpose. So that's a big lesson, isn't it? If that was Allah saying to his prophet to go to the father, enemy of the deen, mushrik, to say Ya Abati. Subhanallah. So Ibrahim alayhi salam, obviously, after all that, you know the story, then he was thrown into the fire. Okay? Now, for Tawheed, he was thrown into the fire. So here, Ibrahim alayhi salam, when he was thrown into the fire, obviously Jibril came and he wanted to help Ibrahim alayhi salam, but Ibrahim doesn't want his help. He's yaqeen in Allah Azza wa Jal. But I want to mention something. Now, Ibrahim alayhi salam had 100% tawakkul upon Allah Azza wa Jal, yaqeen. And tawakkul, the ulama says that it is a shart li sihhatil iman. It is a condition for iman to be sahih, authentic. And that's what the ulama says, that you cannot put tawakkul other than Allah Azza wa Jal. Shaykhul-Islam says that inna tawakkul ala Allah min lizam al-iman. Indeed, having trust in Allah Azza wa Jal, it is part of iman. And tawakkul huwa thiqatu billah Azza wa Jal, as Ibn Abbas says. Tawakkul upon Allah, reliance upon Allah, is to have true reliance. Tayyib. So the ulama says you cannot trust other than Allah Azza wa Jal. And it's part of iman, shart, condition. So you can't put reliance upon other than Allah Azza wa Jal. Now, Ibrahim alayhi salam, because the trust that he had so much, his reliance was so much, he didn't trust any human being except Allah Azza wa Jal. So, can we take asbab? Can we take means as a part of trust? Or we can't put trust, we can't take asbab, means, when we trust Allah Azza wa Jal. Let me give you a scenario. Imagine, may Allah forbid, one of the brother's house is in fire, yeah? He can't go out. Anyway, can't go out. So the fire brigade comes and says, come, I'm going to save you. He says, no, I'm going to put trust in Allah. I don't need you. Did he do the right thing, or is he foolish what he's doing?
He didn't take that spot. So.
No, it's foolish. Okay? Same position as Ibrahim alayhi salam, maybe not like the fire in Ibrahim was huge. But to say, no, I don't need you fire brigade, I put trust in Allah and that's it. No, this is foolish. Shaykh ibn Uthaymeen said, this person does something like foolish. Shaykh Fawzan was asked about taking asbab, taking mean in tawakkul. He said, you have to take asbab you have to take the means you need to put trust in Allah Azza wa Jal. Because if you don't, then this is not true tawakkul. And he gave example, he gave hadith. Umdat al-Ahkam is there. When Prophet ﷺ, whenever he went battle, jihad, he took the asbab. What was the asbab? He'll put his garment, take his sword, he'll put the shield, everything. He's not going to say, I trust Allah, I'm just going to go barehand. La. Also, he put trust in Allah, he took the asbab means that he asked the companion to give sadaqah toward the jihad. These are all asbab. Also, Musa alayhi salam, when he was, chased by the Fir'aun and his people, he couldn't go back, Fir'aun coming, he couldn't go right or left because the mountain, only way is to go straight, and the straight is the river, huge river. So, Allah could have just said, sea, open up. No, he said, strike your staff on the water, and you open up. That's asbab, he took the mean. So there are many, many examples where he teaches us that we have to take the mean. A man came to Prophet and said, Ya Rasulullah, do I put trust in Allah and leave my camel running around? Or do I tie my camel and put trust in Allah Azza wa Jal? He said, tie your camel and put trust in Allah Azza wa Jal. So tying the camel is asbab. Okay? So we have to take the means when it comes to tawakkul upon Allah Azza wa Jal. And Shaykhul-Islam said, ولا بد مع هذا الاعتماد يعني توكل upon Allah من مباشرة الأسباب. Okay? You have to, when you have reliance upon Allah Azza wa Jal, you have to have asbab. You have to do asbab. Many example, if you go cancer, yes, you have to put trust in Allah. Allah is the curer, but you have to take the asbab. Go to the doctor, and the necessary treatment, you have to take it. You can't just say trust Allah. This is not, according to the Quran Sunnah, what our scholars said, you have to take the asbab, you have to take the mean to remove that, inshallah. Tayyib. So here, Ibrahim alayhi salam, Khalilullah, Khalilullah rejected Jibril. I mean, he said, I don't need your help. So, I don't need your help. Allah is enough for me. So Shaykhul-Islam says, فالجواب أن هذا من جنس الهيئة الأولى فإن جبريل عرض عليه أن ينفعه بأمر يقدر عليه. So here the response is that this scenario that we're talking about, that Jibril appeared himself to help Ibrahim alayhi salam, which is able to help. فإنه كما قال الله عز وجل شديد القوة, that he is very powerful. فلو أذن الله له أن يأخذ نار إبراهيم وما حولها من الأرض والجبال يلقيها في المشرق والمغرب لفعل. Jibril is so big that if Allah was to command him to remove the fire, everything, and throw it, take it at the end of the world, he could have done anything if he wants to. Okay? لو أمره أن يضع إبراهيم عليه السلام في مكان بعيد عنه لفعل. If Allah were to command him to take Ibrahim عليه السلام out of fire and put him somewhere far away, he would have been able to do that as well. لو أمره أن يرفعه إلى السماء لفعل. If Allah were to command Jibril to raise him to the heaven, he would have done it. وهذا كرجل غني أو يهبيه شيئا يقضي به حاجته فيأبى ذلك الرجل محتاج يأخذ ويصبر حتى يأتي الله برزق لا منا فيها لا أحد. Basically, this talking about Ibrahim alayhi salam, now give an example about a person, who come to aid somebody who is in need, but he denied the aid. And he waited for Allah's aid to come to him. فأين هذا من الاستغاثة العباد والشرك ولو كانوا يفقهون. Where is this the argument? Where is this shirk? Here, Jibril alayhi salam comes asking Ibrahim alayhi salam for support, okay, to help him. Ibrahim alayhi salam did not requested, come help me. He said, no, I don't want to. So it is not evidence for them to say you can do istighatha. Okay, لغير الله, other than Allah, obviously this is evidence if Jibril was, Ibrahim alayhi salam asked Jibril to come and aid him. He refused. So this in effect, this is not a dalil for these people in that case. And Ibrahim alayhi salam rejected him and put trust in Allah Azza wa Jal. طيب. ونختم كلام إن شاء الله تعالى بمسألة عظيمة مهمة جدا تفهم مما تقدم. We'll end this رسالة إن شاء الله by talking some of the important issue that you will understand. لكن نفرد لها كلام لعظم شأنها لكثرة الغلط فيها. So we will talk independently regarding this issue, which because of its great importance. فنقول لا خلاف أن التوحيد لا بد أن يكون بقلب واللسان والعمل. There's no difference of opinion regarding Tawheed being the part of the heart for the lisan والعمل. فإن اختل شيء من هذا لم يكن رجل مسلما فإن عرف توحيد ولم يعمل بها فهو كافر معاند كفرعون وإبليس وأمثالهما. طيب, here Shaykhul-Islam, he talking about the importance of Tawheed. And no doubt, Tawheed is the most important part of our deen. And without Tawheed, we never can enter Jannah. طيب, and we've explained what Tawheed means. طيب, there are many ayah in the Quran that talks the virtues of Tawheed. Like one of the ayah, Allah said, An'am, الذين آمنوا ولم يلبسوا إيمانهم بظلم أولئك لهم أمن وهم مهتدون. Allah said that as for those who believe in Allah and they do not mix their tawhid with dhulm, then they will have complete protection, okay, from Allah Azza wa Jal. So the Sahabas, interesting is that the Sahabas, when the ayah revealed, the Sahabas went to Prophet and said, Ya Rasulullah, if they don't mix the tawhid with dhulm, then they're protected. Who will not do dhulm to themselves? Who will not do dhulm to themselves? So they were worried. So the Prophet said that it is not dhulm what you're thinking about, meaning hurting your brothers, because a brother can hurt a brother out of that is a form of dhulm. That's what they're thinking about. But Prophet said, it is not the dhulm what you're thinking about. Have you not heard when Luqman said to his son, Inna shirka la dhulmun azim. Indeed, shirk is the greatest of oppression. So dhulm, we have three levels of dhulm. Dhulm with Allah, meaning to associate partner with Allah Azza wa Jal. That's the greatest dhulm. And dhulm to yourself, okay, committing sins and not looking after yourself. Dhulm to your brother by oppressing him, backbiting him, abusing him, eating his wealth unlawfully. These are dhulm, oppression to your brother. So that's what they thought. So Prophet explained this ayah by saying, this dhulm is shirk billah Azza wa Jal. So what do we learn? The concern for the deen, for the tawheed. So, أُولَٰئِكَ لَهُمْ أَمْنٌ وَهُمْ مُهْتَدُونَ. For those people, they have tawheed and they don't mix the tawheed with shirk, they will have security, protection, and they'll be guarded. So the ulama says, Ahlul Tawheed, when it comes to enter Jannah, there are two types. There's Amn Mutlaq, Mutlaqul Amn. Amn Mutlaq, complete security, protection, is that those slaves of Allah who were upon Tawheed and they had no shirk billah Azza wa Jal, and they had no major sin, but if they had major sin, they made tawbah to Allah Azza wa Jal, so they meet Allah with Allah Azza wa Jal without any of those. No shirk, no major sin, they're pure, they will enter Jannah without any hisab. Yani they will enter Jannah straight away. Mutlaqul Amn, partial security, which we covered in Kitab al-Tawheed, in that Ahlul Tawheed are two types. This is the second one, is that a person upon Tawheed had no shirk, and maybe he had major sin, never made tawbah to Allah Azza wa Jal, okay, he will meet Allah Azza wa Jal, Allah can forgive him or punish him. If Allah punishes him in the hellfire, Allah will take him out and put him in Jannah. This is called Mutlaqul Amn, partial security, meaning they will be punished and they will be taken out of the hellfire and they will be put into Jannah. So Ahlul Tawheed can go to Jahannam for a short period. Allah will punish them and they will take them out. So shows this hadith. This ayah shows the greatness of Tawheed. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَلَمْ يَلْبِسُوا إِيمَانَهُم بِظُلْمٍ أُولَٰئِكَ لَهُمْ الْأَمْنُ وَهُمْ مُهْتَدُونَ. This ayah, amazing ayah, shows the importance of Tawheed, Ahlul Tawheed. طيب. So Shaykh here explains that Tawheed is three levels: in the heart, in the tongue, and action. طيب. So if any of these misses, then you are not true believer. Depend. So if someone has Iman in the heart, but doesn't have it on the tongue, yani he doesn't utter it, then who is he? Abu Talib. Abu Talib believed it, but he never uttered it. Kafir. If someone has it on the tongue, but doesn't believe it, he is what? Munafiq, hypocrite. Okay? But if someone has in the heart and the tongue, but on the action differs, then the scholars have a different opinion on this. Some says, under that definition of that he practiced sometime, leaves sometime, then he's a fasiq, isn't it? He's a fasiq in that sense. Some of the ulama says that if he doesn't practice worship Allah at all, then he's not a Muslim. Like salah, if you miss one salah, khalas, you're not a Muslim. But as for action, it's part of iman. So when they say when you don't have action, you have no iman. We have a hadith: the man of the card will come meet Allah yawm al-qiyamah with no good deed except la ilaha illallah. So iman is three levels: in the heart, tawheed, iman, in the heart, tongue, and the limbs. Action. We have to practice the deen. Deen is about practice. It's not just learning, practicing. Shaykh said that if any of this misses in your life, then he is not a Muslim. فإن عرف التوحيد ولم يعمل بها فهو كافر معاند كفرعون وإبليس وأمثالهم. Obviously, Fir'aun, if he knows Tawheed but doesn't act upon it, then he's kafir, arrogant, like Fir'aun, Iblis. That was Ibn Rajab mentioned in Fathul Bari. In his Fathul Bari, he said, "Man عرف الله أحبه ومن أحبه أطاعه." Ibn Rajab mentioned this. He said that whoever knows Allah will love him, and whoever loves him will practice the deen, will obey him. So, see, connection. Knowing Allah, if you know Allah's attributes, you will love Allah definitely. When you love Him, you obey Him. Because you can't say, I love Allah, but you don't obey Him. This is a claim. So, loving Allah necessitates that you obey Allah Azza wa Jal, His command. So, I know where Shaykh's coming from, because Iblis knew Allah. Fir'aun knew Allah. Fir'aun received Messenger, Musa alayhi salam. Okay, but we cannot categorize our Muslim nowadays. You see some of them practice, don't practice, some of them practice, don't practice. The weakness, okay? We can't say they're Fir'aun, la iyad billah. Because Fir'aun is kafir. Abu Talib is kafir as well. But there's a difference between those two kafiran, okay? Fir'aun, he declared to be ilah. Abu Talib never declared to be ilah. Actually, he was humble. He was going to accept Islam if there was no friction between the tribes. So, but obviously the hukum is same. In the side of Allah, they are Ahlul Nar. So, Shaykhul-Islam says that if you know Tawheed and you don't practice it, then you're not a Muslim. So, وهذا يغلط فيه كثير من الناس. A lot of people might make mistake in this issue, regarding this issue. يقولون هذا حق ونحن نفهم هذا ونشهد أن الحق ولكن لا نقدر أن نفعله ولا يجوز عند الأهل بلدنا إلا من وافقهم وغير ذي من الأعذار. So basically, Shaykh talking about certain people. We know Tawheed, but we can't practice. We see this is haq, we see that, we testify it, but it's not possible for us to practice. So they're making a lot of excuse, for this. ولم يدري المسكين أن الغالب أئمة الكفر يعرفون الحق. So this miskin doesn't know that. The scholars of the people in the past, leaders, they knew the haq. Fir'aun knew the haq. Okay? ولم يتركوه إلا شيء من الأعذار. Nothing, except they made excuse as well. So Shaykh giving example of certain people, they testify the witness, they see the haq, but they don't practice it. Oh, I can't practice because of many reasons. But Shaykh doesn't accept these things, And that's true. If you know the Tawheed, you have to practice Tawheed, because we are created for that. And we have no excuse not to worship Allah Azza wa Jal and learn the basic deen. If you live in a country where they teach you the basic aqidah, Maybe you're not عذر بالجهل. Your ignorance might not be accepted in the sight of Allah Azza wa Jalla. Allah will say, I put you in a land, you live in London, Whitechapel and Bethnal Green and Dockland. Your classes are going. Basic Aqidah class, what did you go? What did you learn Tawheed? What did fiqh books, classes are there. So maybe you might not be, Allah might not accept you on Qiyamah. He might be Jahil, but Allah might not accept him. So we covered something like this in subhanallah in Masail Ramadan, class in Ramadan. We've covered this, and Shaykh Hizam brings the issue, and very scary, subhanallah. The issue was that in Ramadan, give example, couples had intercourse in the month of Ramadan daytime, okay, and they said, and they asked about, and they said, oh, we didn't know it was haram. We didn't know that you can't have intercourse with your wife in the month of Ramadan daytime. I didn't know, we were ignorant. Okay, Imam Nawawi says, and Shaykh brings Imam Nawawi's statement. And Imam Nawawi says that if a person does such act in month of Ramadan, intercourse with wife month of Ramadan daytime, which is haram, and if they're ignorant, then if they live in a land where they could find out and knowledge are there, they won't be accepted. Won't be accepted. They're not udhr. Because you could have gone to any masajid, they will tell you. Even if you go to the Google and tell you that what are the thing nullifies your siyam, it'll tell you. So you can't escape. You can't escape. Because you can be ignorant, but you can't escape because you can search for it. You got access to knowledge. The brothers are there, the masajid are there. You can ask any of them. It doesn't work. It doesn't work like that. وهذه المسألة مسألة كبيرة طويلة تبين لك إذا تأملتها في ألسنة الناس ترى من يعرف الحق ويترك العمل به لخوف نقص دنيا أو جاء أو مدارات. Okay, so basically Shaykh saying that this issue we're talking about, people not practicing the deen, you see people living the haqq, living their action, fearing that they might lose the part of the dunya, the status, whatever. They'll sacrifice the dunya for the deen, and they will not practice their deen because of that fear. They'll probably sacrifice certain part of their deen. Maybe I might lose the job, so I may shave my beard over something, or shorten, shorten it, so very shorten it, or small thing. They eventually that can cause you to leave the deen. Subhanallah. If you can sacrifice small thing, eventually you can sacrifice the big things. So so this is happening, and subhanallah, the benefit I'm going to mention here. Shaykh Fawzan says, الناس مع التوحيد ثلاثة أقسام. So we're talking about importance of Tawheed. Yeah. هي من يعرف ويؤمن به باطنا ويجحد ظاهرا وينكره. So a person, the first type of people is that who knows the Tawheed, he believes it batinan. Okay, but internally he believes it, okay, but openly he denies it. And that's Abu Talib, we gave example, Fir'aun, things like that. الثاني من يتكلم به ويعمل به ظاهرا وينكره ويكفر به باطنا. هم منافقون, that who speaks about Islam, Tawheed, he acts upon it, apparently he shows Islam, but internally he doesn't believe it. They're munafiqun. And these munafiqun are, as Allah said, إِنَّ الْمُنَافِقِينَ فِي الدَّرْكِ أَسْفَلِ مِنَ النَّارِ. In the munafiq are the lords of the hell. These are the kuffar. Okay? القسم الثالث ما يعتقده باطنا ويعمل به ظاهرا وباطنا والقسمان أولان كافران خاسران والقسم الثالث مؤمن مفلح. So the first two is the third one we're talking about, a believer. Okay, he believes internally and externally. He shows it in his action, and he's a believer. First two are not Muslims. Okay, they are not Muslims. طيب, let's read the last part of the book, inshallah. ولكن عليك بفهم الآيتين من الكتاب الله أولهما ما تقدم من قولي. We covered this. We covered this Nawaqid al-Islam as well. He said, لا تعتذروا قد كفرتم بعد إيمانكم. Do not make excuse, you have disbelieved after your iman. فإذا تحققت أن بعض الصحابة الذين غزوا الروم مع رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم كفروا بسبب كلمة قالوها على وجه اللعب والمزح. That this becomes this becomes clear that some of the companions who fought with Prophet ﷺ Ghazwa in Rome, Tabuk, Ghazwa Tabuk with Prophet ﷺ, and they uttered a word, okay, in a way of just mocking and joking. تبين لك أن الذي يتكلم بالكفر أو يعمل به خوفا من نقص مال أو جاه أو مدارات لأحد. So here we see that it becomes clear for you that who speaks a word of kufr, or he does an action out of fear, fearing he might lose his wealth or status or things like that. أعظم ممن تكلم بكلمة يمزح بها. والآية الثانية من كفر بالله من بعد إيمانه إلا من أكره وقلبه مطمئن بالإيمان. So the first ayah Shaykh is bringing out to show that the people out there they can make statement of kufr with their tongue, they won't even realize it. And this is the companions, Sahabas they were, and they were with the Prophet ﷺ, Ghazwat Tabuk, and they were mocking, and Allah revealed this ayah, لا تعتذروا قد كفرتم. Don't make excuse if disbelief after iman. So they were believers. Tayyib shows that a person can make a statement of kufr out of jest, out of mocking and joking, and they become kafir, yadhu billah. Okay? No one forced them. No one forced them. So, and you have people who doesn't practice the tawheed of Allah Azza wa Jal, fearing they might lose their wealth or status, things like that. Sacrifice their deen for the wealth. The next ayah, whoever disbelieve in Allah, okay, after the iman, except he was forced to do that, and his heart is content, meaning his iman still firm. Okay, so like example I give you, like Ammar bin Yasir, when he was, I think this is the ayah talk about Ammar, that when he was forced to curse Prophet ﷺ, and what happened was he cursed, but his iman was still intact. Yani he didn't believe what he said. So Prophet said, how is your iman? He said, my iman is intact, O Messenger of Allah. He said, in zada faqul. Okay, إذا عادوا عد. When if they repeat, they ask you again, then repeat. Say whatever you said. Say again to save your life. So that's different. If you're compelled to do kufr, then you are overlooked. فلم يعذر الله من هؤلاء إلا من أكره مع كون قلبه مطمئن بالإيمان. So why is the Shaykh bringing these two ayah? The first ayah is kufr, mocking with the deen of Allah Azza wa Jal. It's major kufr. Were they forced to do that? They weren't forced to do that. They openly sitting there, they're mocking with about Islam, and ayah revealed, and Allah declared they're kuffar. The second ayah, talking about kufr as well, but the person is not a kafir. Why? Because he was forced to do that. And he didn't believe what he said. He was saving his life. Okay? But the first one, you're not saving your life. You're just passing your time, laughing about the deen of Allah Azza wa Jal. That's why Shaykh says that. Here, first one, Prophet did not find any excuse. Except this one, they are forced. He was forced to do that, but his iman is still intact. وأما غير هذا فقد كفر بعد إيمانه سواء فعله خوفا أو بطونه أو أهله أو عشيرته أو ماله. So other than that, someone might commit disbelief in his iman, fearing that he losing anything in his life, his wealth or whatever. He must sacrifice his deen for the money. Look, we give you money. We become a manager for company. We'll give you a lot of money. Okay, plot against Islam. Speak against Islam. We tell you what to speak. What is this leading to? He's sacrificing his deen for the wealth. So and these are the people Allah described in the Quran to be disbelievers. Illa man, because he's selling his deen for his dunya. Illa man ukriha falam yastanin lahu illa mukri. Allah did not make an exception except if he's forced. ومعلوم أن الإنسان لا يكره إلا على العمل أو كلام وأما العقيدة القلب فلا يكره أحد عليه. So Shaykh says that when someone is forced to do something, he's forced to do regarding his action or his speech, but not belief in the heart. Okay? So Ammar bin Yasir was forced to curse Prophet ﷺ because they can't see your heart, but it's the limbs. So obviously he cursed to save his life. So you understood now, hopefully you understand these two ayah why Shaykh is bringing, because the kufr can be done without two ways. Kufr can be done according to your own accord. No one forced you. You're sitting there, you're making kufr statement. You're mocking the deen of Allah Azza wa Jalla. That's your person's kafir. If he does with knowledge, obviously. And the second type of kufr is that ayah Shaykh-Islam brings, is that you're forced to do the kufr. So you have udhur, you have ma'adhur, you're forced to do kufr, you are overlooked by that. And Hadith ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu, that when Prophet said that, إِنَّ اللَّهَ تَجَاوَزْ لِي أُمَّتِي مِنَ الْخَطَأِ وَنِسْيَانِ وَمَا أُسْتِكْرُهُ عَلَيْهِمْ. Okay? That my ummah is overlooked, forgiven for forgetfulness, mistake, and whatever they're compelled to do. This compelled means you're forced to do things, kufr, make a kufr statement, or to do act of kufr, maybe yadu billah, make sajda to idol or something, and they will kill you, they'll torture you, they'll kill you. Out of fear of that, you do it, you don't believe it. You don't believe it, you're ma'adhur for that, because you're forced to do that. So Islam give you that, give us this space. Allah is merciful, because Allah judges by what is in the heart, not apparently. So if your heart is mutma'in, then you're overlooked. ذلك بأنه مستحب الحياة الدنيا على الآخرة. The second ayah here talking about is that those people they prefer life of dunya over the akhirah. فصرح أن هذا الكفر والعذاب لم يكن بسبب الاعتقاد أو الجهل أو البغض للدين أو محبة الكفر. So here he clearly states that this is the kufr, okay, and the punishment, and punishment doesn't happen because of i'tiqad or ignorance or hatred for the deen أو محبة الكفر محبة love for the kufr. وإنما سببه أن له في ذلك حظا في حضور الدنيا فأثره على الدين. So the reason is that in fact he has some sort of share of the dunya, okay, and he has effect in his deen, and he has effect in his deen. والله سبحانه وتعالى أعلم والحمد لله رب العالمين وعلى محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. طيب, so my brothers, that's the end of the Kashf Shubuhaat. So these are talking about basically you preferring the dunya over your deen, and you sacrifice your dunya over the deen, and love of dunya becomes greater than love of the deen, and and that causes person to turn away from the deen of Allah Azza wa Jal, to the extent wealth of Qarun made him disbelieve in Allah. So wealth has an effect in your life, and you can reject the deen of Allah Azza wa Jal. So this is the last part of Kashf Shubuhaat, inshallah. Jazakumullah khair. We will inshallah resume the next one. So I hope this small risala benefited us, all of us, and may Allah accept from us, and I hope we benefit the others from it, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. Any last question on this book? Go on, Akhi.
So when you mentioned, a group of people who like mock the religion or the deen, but they do it in a way where they say, "No, I was just like I didn't know the hukum behind doing this. I just thought it was harmless." So is the kufr, is the hukum go back to them, or is it?
I mean, the principle we follow is that anything Sharia that if person does it in terms of kufr, statement and action, if they're ignorant, they're jahil, then the udhr bil jahl is applied on them. And these Sahabas were knowledgeable. They were students of the Prophet ﷺ. They were with the Sahaba, they were learning. And they had knowledge of the deen. But if someone is ignorant, then the principle applies. Udhr bil jahl. He's ignorant, he didn't know. So, and he turns back from it. He doesn't do it anymore. Like the Sahaba, Zatu Anwat. Okay, they were ignorant. So if the person is ignorant and he didn't know, and he didn't know that it is kufr, then Sharia has excuse for that person. Yeah, ayah is there, isn't it? Ayah in the Quran. Hujjah and be established on him. One of the mawani'. What is the one of the mawani' of kufr? Individual takfir. If he's ignorant, then it's not applied on him. Any more? You're going to ask or something. Khalas? Okay, go on.
What's the next book?
Oh, you're going to ask me, Arif? You want to ask me? You put your hand up.
Question,
What is it?
So, you said people some of them can go Jahannam.
Yeah.
How come there was a hadith where it says, it was mentioning whoever testifies, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah will be forbidden from the hellfire. What does that mean?
The forbidden here means that forbidden means that if someone dies saying La ilaha illallah straight away, then he's got straight to Jannah. Okay? Man kana ahlan la ilaha illallah Jannah, that whoever last word is La ilaha will enter Jannah. Okay? So Jannah forbidden for that person because his last word was La ilaha illallah, with the whole sins are forgiven. He'll definitely go to Jannah. There are no sins. Also could mean that forbidden for him is the forbidden for him to enter for eternity. He will come out one day. Because Ahl Tawheed, what is forbidden for them is to enter Jannah for eternity. That's forbidden for them. They will taste the fire and Allah will take them out, whatever reason. So they are forbidden to enter Jannah for eternity. That's mustahil. They will be taken out because of the Tawheed of Allah Azza wa Jal. Oh, okay, go on. Yeah.
You mentioned the story of Ammar bin Yasir. With regards to that, if someone, let's say they're compelled to utter kufr, but they decide not to in terms of like honor, which of these two is better, to take the rukhsa or to...
Taken.
So if someone is compelled to utter kufr,
okay,
and they decide not to in terms of like honor, they don't want to utter kufr, would it be better to take the rukhsa or to not do it?
I mean, depend. For if you got to do with the قاعدة الضرورية تبيح المحظورات. Necessity makes the mahzurat sin, okay, lawful. Meaning you're allowed to do things in times of ضروريات. So if the ضروريات is higher than mahzurat, saving your life is a pressure. Okay, if you're in a situation where you have to save your life by doing the mahzurat, then you do that to save your life, and that's how it is, and come back to ubudiyya of Allah Azza wa Jal. And but as we know, Salaf gave their life. Okay, went through tortures. Bilal, Hanzla, other people been tortured because of the deen. And they were torn apart, and they will not turn back from the deen. So, rukhsa, you're allowed to take the rukhsa. Yes, Sharia made it easy for you. It's better to take the rukhsa than you don't believe it, and you come back to ubudiyya of Allah, worship Allah Azza wa Jal. But if you want to take the hard habit, where is that if you think they're going to kill you, you can be shaheed. So either way, Sharia allows you to do the act of kufr to save your life. ضرورية تبيح المحظورات. And save your life. Why not save your life? You don't believe it. Some of the Salaf, Imam Ahmed, were tortured. The trial Quran being created. Some are tortured, some are punished, some said it to save their life because they realized if we die, who's going to give the da'wah? So the maslahah is greater. So Sharia allows you to take the rukhsah here. Yeah, but you don't believe it. get out of it. Khalas. But if you want to go through the torture and Islam not telling you to do that. Yeah, no. Yeah. Khalas. Okay. Assalamu alaikum.